The first time I saw Empress Kirella of Vastrian 9, I nearly forgot to breathe. I wasn't supposed to. No human was supposed to. She was considered the most dangerous monarch in the Orion Belt, ruler of 6 star systems, commander of 3 armadas, and the only sovereign known to execute an entire council for interrupting her. Her reputation came before her like a storm. But none of that prepared me for the moment her eyes, glowing silver like starlight trapped in crystal, fell upon mine. And I, an ordinary human engineer named Marco Hale, was dragged before her throne as though I were a prisoner delivered for judgment. Which, I suppose I was. But the real story began long before that moment, before the whisper, before the trembling, before the unthinkable happened between us. It began on a dying moon. Beginning, the moon, the ship, and the misunderstanding. My engineering crew had been sent to repair a collapsed power grid on Lura 7, a small Vastrian mining moon. The place was mostly rock, dust, and workers who feared their own shadows. Rumors swirled the moment we landed. The Empress herself was visiting the system. That alone made every alien miner look pale. Humans were rare in Vastrian space. We weren't enemies, just unimportant. And humans weren't welcome near royalty unless invited or arrested. Still, the job was simple. Fix the grid. Leave before the Empress's entourage arrived. But fate had other plans. The grid tower collapsed while we were working on it. I was knocked unconscious beneath a support beam, buried in dust and smoke. When I woke, my crew was gone, evacuated when the Empress unexpectedly landed at the same site, forcing all humans to clear out immediately. All except me. And somehow, during rescue scans, my human signal matched the signature of a Vastrian rebel they were hunting. That's how I woke up on a royal dreadnought with my wrists bound and 2 armored guards dragging me toward a throne room. The throne of starglass. The doors opened with a seismic hum. The throne room of the Empress wasn't just a chamber, it was a cathedral built of starglass. The ceiling looked like a live galaxy, swirling with real particles of cosmic dust. The air shimmered with energy threads, humming like an electric heartbeat. And at the center, she Saturday. Empress Kirella. Tall, statuesque, with skin shimmering in gradients of violet and midnight blue. Her hair floated softly around her like strands of nebula, glowing faintly with silver sparks. Armor-like gold patterns curled over her collarbones and shoulders, not physical metal, but living energy woven into form. When she stood, it looked like the galaxy bowed. I wasn't sure if I was terrified or stunned. Maybe both. Her voice cut through the silence like a blade made of velvet. Human. You were found at a restricted site. Identify yourself. Marco Hale, I croaked. Engineer. I wasn't. She raised her hand. The guards tightened their grip, and I shut my mouth. She descended from her throne slowly, like a queen unaccustomed to lowering herself but willing to observe the curious creature delivered to her feet. Her eyes traveled over me, clinical, cold, unreadable. Then she circled. Once. Twice. Studying me like a puzzle piece that didn't belong in her universe. You fear me. I'd be an idiot not to. Something flickered in her eyes, amusement. No. Something stranger. And yet, she murmured softly, you look at me without kneeling. I'm tied up, I replied. Hard to kneel when my wrists are locked. Against all odds, against her entire galaxy-wide reputation, a small, almost imperceptible smile tugged at the corner of her lips. Then she turned to her guards. Release him. They froze. Your radiance, he could be. Her voice hardened. Do not make me repeat myself. A second later, my wrists were free. She returned her full attention to me. And that was when everything changed. The whisper I never meant to say. I didn't plan it. I didn't think it. It slipped out like an exhale of truth that had been sitting inside my chest from the moment I saw her. She stepped closer, eyes reflecting galaxies, standing only inches from me. And in a moment of absolute, reckless stupidity, I whispered, "You're beautiful." The words were soft, barely a breath. But the room heard it. The guards inhaled sharply. The air stilled. The energy threads overhead flickered as if shocked. And Empress Kirella trembled. Not with rage. Not with offense. But with something fragile. Something human. Her eyes widened slightly. Her lips parted. She took a half-step back as though struck. "Repeat it," she whispered. I said you're beautiful." She inhaled sharply, as if she had never heard the word in her entire life. "No one," her voice cracked. "No one has ever said that to me." I blinked. "Ever?" She looked away, her jaw tightening. "I am a weapon. A ruler. A force. To my people, I am perfection by design. But beauty." She touched her own cheek with a stunned gentleness. "Beauty is weakness. Beauty invites softness. Beauty is for those allowed to be admired." Her throat tightened. "I have never been allowed." And in that moment, the Empress of 6 systems looked unbelievably small. Middle, the emotional unraveling. I didn't know what to say. How do you comfort someone who commands armies? Someone who has never heard a simple compliment in her entire life? I swallowed. "For whatever it's worth." I meant it. She closed her eyes. Why would a human, an outsider, speak such truth without gain? Because truth doesn't need a reason. When her eyes opened again, they glistened with something that almost looked like moisture, but Vastrian eyes couldn't cry. Or so I thought. She raised her hand and touched the air just above my face, not touching me, but nearly. "Your words affect me in ways they shouldn't." I laughed nervously. "I've been told I have that effect on people." She tilted her head. "You joke in the presence of an empress? It's how humans avoid passing out from fear." This time, without hiding it, she smiled. A real, soft, glowing smile. She gestured for me to follow her out of the throne room. Guards watched us with confusion and panic, but none dared speak. We walked through shimmering corridors, halls filled with constellations frozen in glass. Every few steps, she would glance at me, studying me, re-evaluating me, as though each moment rewrote something inside her. Eventually, she spoke again. "Marco Hale, why were you alone on Lura 7? So I told her about the collapse, the mistaken identity, my missing crew. I expected interrogation. Suspicion. Instead, she listened. Truly listened. "Then you are no criminal," she said softly. "You were abandoned. My crew probably thinks I died. Then I will correct their error." She paused. After we finish speaking." Her voice wavered on the last word. As though she didn't want the conversation to end. Her private garden. She guided me to a chamber unlike any I had ever seen. It was a sanctuary filled with floating plants, shimmering petals, crystalline vines humming with energy. The air smelled of starlight and soft rain. "No one is allowed here," she said. "And you're bringing me. You spoke to me, not to my crown." She touched one of the glowing vines, and it curled around her fingers like a living ribbon. "Do you know what they call me?" she asked quietly. "Plenty of things. Most of them terrifying." She didn't laugh. "They call me the Void's daughter. The unsoftened. The iron pulse." She turned to me. "But no one has ever asked what I wished to be." "What do you wish to be?" I asked. She hesitated before answering. "Seen." Her voice broke. "Not as a ruler. Not as a weapon. As myself." I stepped closer. "Then consider this a start." She looked up at me, really looked, and for a strange, breathless moment, the Empress seemed like a woman who had carried galaxies alone for too long. Marco. She whispered my name like it was forbidden. Your compliment, it frightened me. Why? Because it made me feel. Her chest rose and fell in a trembling breath. And I do not know what to do with feeling. I smiled softly. We figure it out. One step at a time. She lowered her gaze, but not before I saw the glow in her cheeks. A blush. Vastrian blushing was like witnessing a star igniting under skin. A moment too close. We stood only inches apart. Her breath was warm. Her aura shimmered. Human, she whispered, almost uncertain. If you keep looking at me like that, I may mistake it for desire. The air thickened. I didn't know whether to step back or closer. So I did nothing. And that silence was the loudest answer possible. Her eyes widened. You do desire me. Heat shot through my face. I mean anyone would. She stepped closer. But you are not anyone. You are the first to see me. Before I could respond, an urgent alarm blared through the chamber. Her expression hardened instantly. Duty reclaimed her features. She straightened. We must go. But before leaving, she touched my cheek softly, briefly, and whispered. Do not fear me. Not anymore. The crisis. A fleet of rebels had broken through the outer perimeter. Her general rushed to her with battle reports. Corella transformed before my eyes from vulnerable woman to unshakable ruler. Prepare the star cannons. Redirect power to the shields. And bring this human to the command deck, she ordered. Your radiance, the human? Why? Her gaze turned lethal. He stays with me. Her fleet engaged the rebels in a dazzling display of energy fire and starshield maneuvers. I watched from beside her command throne, and even in battle, she glanced at me occasionally as if confirming I was still there. Her people noticed. Whispers spread. The Empress had never kept anyone at her side. Not even her own advisors. But she kept me. Ending what we became. When the battle was won, Corella dismissed her generals. She approached me slowly, almost shyly, an impossible thing for an empress. Marco, hail. She exhaled. Your words, the ones you whispered, changed me. I swallowed. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You caused awakening. Her voice softened. And now I cannot return to who I was before. She stepped closer. So I must ask, she whispered, silver eyes trembling with something fierce and tender. Do you still believe I am beautiful? Yes, I said. Without hesitation. I always will. Her breath hitched. And then, she reached for my hand. The Empress. The untouchable. The feared. Holding my hand like it was the first gentle thing she had ever done. The galaxy seemed to still around us. She leaned closer. Then stay, she whispered. Not as a prisoner. Not as a servant. Stay as the one who saw me. I couldn't speak. My heart felt too full. So I squeezed her hand. I'll stay. Her eyes softened, glowing like the birth of a star. And with a trembling voice she said, No one has ever given me beauty. But you gave me myself. The final moment. As she led me out of the chamber, hand in hand, the guards bowed in stunned silence. The Empress glanced at me and whispered, Marco, your whisper changed the fate of an empire. And maybe it did. Because for the first time in her life, Empress Corella was not feared. She was seen. And for the first time in mine, I realized how powerful a single whispered truth could be.